Color is a daily experience for every human on the planet. Every morning we wake up and get dressed, we look at our clothing, we decide what colors we want to wear. I often wear all black. The things that we choose, the cars we drive, our affiliations with different groups, different sports teams, even the food we eat appeals to us through color. The four artists I chose for figurine color, Kathy Butterly, Felix Gonzalez-Torres, Roy McMakin, and Sue Williams, their work embodies this idea of color.
I was afraid of color. What do you do with color?
Color is simple and complicated and personal and universal.
Red catches my eye and it does what I want, so it's always nice drawn back to it.
I feel color. The color takes me to the next decision.
Color is just so deeply integrated into the life experience that you can't get away from it.
Most of their work is about bodies, but it's very metaphorical in the sense that you will not see specifically bodies. Bodies are covered in a skin. We have a surface, and really thinking about how these artists treat surface with color and form, shape, a lot of warm reds and peaches and browns.
Any piece of art that an artist makes is somehow a self-portrait, but mine are very overtly self-portrait. My work really talks about the changes that have happened in my life. And for an example, this piece like Butter, I made this when I fell in love with my husband. It's a little in your face and kind of sort of rude in a way. And I was just so madly in love, and my world was so sensual, and so my work was very fleshy and very sensual. This piece embarrasses people, and I think that's wonderful because it's just a piece of clay, and I can make you feel something from a piece of clay. And then 9/11 happened, and the work started to become about my head. My head was way too heavy with fears, anxieties. I made a few of them, my heavy heads. The head is very tired, it can't lift itself up. That's how I was feeling. I just couldn't lift my head up. This is a plaster mold of a pint glass. This is where all my pieces start. I just find so much potential in this form. There's such a history to working with clay, but for me, firing something in the kiln once or twice just doesn't do it. The way I work is like a painter, because I think I am a painter who works three-dimensionally. When you look at a fantastic painting of flesh, that's what I'm hoping to do with my fleshy pink forms. So there's the clay body, and then there's the glaze, which is on top, which is the skin, just like the skin of a painting. Early on, my pieces didn't have pedestals, and I had been wanting to elevate the pieces and have some airflow within them, and I guess I want them to be lifted up, maybe a little special. Scale is so important to my work. One way I like to describe them is like they're vitamins. Like everything you need is power-packed in that little teeny form. This piece is just for men. As I was working on the pink form, I just started to cover it with what I was interpreting as a beard. I just love the Just for Men hair dye commercial for men. The piece is also very suggestive at the same time, so Just for Men has like a double meaning. The titles Sometimes they come naturally. Like I have on my wall just a list of things that come in my mind. I'll be listening to music and I hear a word that inspires, a title. I write it down. I have little notes everywhere. This piece is called More Plenty. I wanted to make something over the top. Living in New York City, there was so much excess in every aspect in terms of like real estate, fashion, money. I just felt like things were out of whack. So everything was about more plenty. Everybody just wanted more and more and more. So I made a piece that had excess everything. This piece is called Base of Scandal. The title came from looking at a show at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and there were these most exquisite Chinese foot binding shoes there. They're beautifully embroidered, and then I thought, oh my God, but they're torture. They're horrible things. So there's this attraction and repulsion with what I was looking at, and so that's how the title came for this piece, Base of Scandal.
The two works by Roy McMakin are the only works in the exhibition where he's not really using strong, vivid color. He's using fleshy colors. And one piece is a chair, the back of which looks like a human bottom. It really rests on the floor, so it really feels like this kind of fleshy form. And then the other piece, untitled Grab, Push, and Pull Chest, is this chest of drawers that really feels something like a body, and it's natural wood.
Chest of drawers in the exhibition, it's a chest of drawers called Pull, Push, and Grab, which is really just about the kind of visceral action of opening drawers. That you pull, and then you grab, and this one you stick your hand up in and you actually go behind this oval, which is meant to feel like almost a solar plexus on somebody, that you've put your hand up into their chest cavity and you're kind of pulling it out towards you. And then the bottom drawer, to open it up, you have to go push this peculiar rod that's going through the aperture there to open it up. So this chest of drawers has this very kind of visceral, almost kind of anatomical and sexual aspect to it, while still feeling like an iconic, simple chest of drawers.
Felix Gonzalez-Torres' Untitled Blood is a large piece made of these red beads that hang from the ceiling like a huge beaded curtain. He died 16 years ago. There's a really beautiful quote about AIDS, which was so critical to his work. When people think about AIDS, they think of images of hospital beds, medicine, needles, and all such garish things. That's not AIDS, that's part of it, but AIDS also, unfortunately, includes discrimination, fear, shame, desperation, and political repression. You go through this curtain and it's like passing through a body. It's called Untitled Blood, and it's red. You feel it on your shoulders, you feel it on your skin, these beads. You enter this room that has Sue Williams paintings that are all paintings of insides, the guts.
I'm preoccupied, like probably everyone is or should be, with the world around them and what's going on, policy, foreign policy. A lot of the paintings are about violence, the imperial war, conquest of the world, people going up and disrupting peaceful communities by, blowing up their places of worship while they're in them. A painting called Expansion. Now that's obviously about how late stage capitalism has to constantly expand. They have to have new markets, they have to keep exploiting, they have to find new markets. And essentially it ends up with war. Red is not always attractive. Red is, of course, blood. And it can be violence, and so it's a lot of violence and parts, and then they got tinier little brushes, capillaries, veins. I was enjoying making the tiny, yes, I enjoyed making the tiny veins, but I don't enjoy the violence. American Enterprise is a painting that is clearly body parts and shoes and pieces of purses. The turmoil, it's what I think about, and I'm glad if I can put it in my paintings. I just decided on bright, clear colors. And I've always used them, maybe because the way I paint is lines. Lines and solid areas. I like contrasting colors. I want to make a painting that I want to look at. Subject matter, composition, painting, they all get swirled together, intent, and I have to love what I'm doing.
This piece that's called Aquita Faye Melvin, which is my mother's maiden name. It was made while both my parents were still alive, and subsequent to that, they both are now deceased. For me, the emotional resonance of this piece remains significant. I had been both thinking about and remembering key pieces of furniture from my childhood. One way to put it is these pieces went from my memory very quickly into my current life, which is to have this very sophisticated wood shop and method of producing furniture and objects. And then they went through this process and came out what they are, which are marginal, trivial pieces of furniture that were built with enormous craft and love and significance. I think that I saw furniture as my friends in life. In seeking love in my life, I looked to furniture. So I realized I didn't really want to go into my memory of the color of them. It existed through doodles and little sketches I had done, which were colorless. You know, they were just graphite on paper, that I decided that helped them stay more as memory pieces, and I wanted to have a unifying thing. So I also saw the single color as uniting the entire piece.
Untitled Lover Boys by Felix Gonzalez-Torres is composed of 355 pounds of blue and white swirl candy. One very important quote of Felix's is that he said, "I'm giving you the sugary thing. You put it in your mouth and you suck on someone else's body. And in this way, my work becomes part of so many other people's bodies. It's very hot. For just a few seconds, I have put something sweet in someone's mouth, and this is very sexy." And you can take a piece of candy with you. And you're really taking something of the sculpture, which is a portrait of the artist and his life partner, and putting it in your body and eating it. You're sort of sharing in a physical experience with the artist, but also with other viewers. You end looking at work by all four artists. There is all this color, orange and green and blue, this joyous, exuberant experience. You see paintings by Sue Williams that are just these gestural, abstract, just someone making marks on a canvas.
Swinger is an abstract painting that was painted over a long period of time. And I first made the blue, and I was very happy with it. I didn't know what to do with the rest of it, so I set it aside over a period of months. When I eventually found a color for the other side, I was very happy with it. I think it isn't supposed to be a body parts, but it was the beginning of each brushstroke was sort of compelled by the idea of a form, a soft outline or a form. I love making the curving lines with my brush. But I think there's always a sensuousness to paint.
This chest was commissioned for a house in Los Angeles. exist in how you perceive it, your relationship to it, both being around it, walking around it, using it, and never quite being able to know it because it slightly distorts. This chest is orange because it's orange. I wanted to be pretty. It's very, very, very hard for people to be cynical about color. I mean, it's weird. I mean, you can really be cynical about most everything else, but not color, I think.
I feel color. There's a tree that every autumn it's yellow, and you walk underneath this tree and you feel the yellow. I want something to look beautiful and ugly. I want something to be happy and sad, because that's me, complicated. Or maybe not, maybe we're all like that.
As you exit the show, you see a work by Felix Gonzalez-Torres called Untitled Fear, which is a mirror that's colored light blue. So you actually see a reflection of yourself as you leave the show.